Okay, so a couple of updates before we head to the layout regarding the East Islip locomotives that I picked up last month, or rather back in January, depending on how soon I could roll this video out, because there has been a lot going on, both at work and personal. So, getting right to the point, there were 2 casualties in inspecting and servicing the locomotives. The first casualty was the Tyco F7 in the Chessie livery, which I thought was a lifelike locomotive with the Varney motor, but it wasn't. It was a Tyco, what do they call them? Power torque drives, and as it turns out, the gears were a mess. The rear truck was no good at all. Whoever owned this locomotive before took it upon themselves to just crazy glue the rear axles. Why? Why would you do such a thing? You just wrecked this locomotive. As for the motor drive, the trucks with the truck that had the motor drive, or rather the motor in it, the gears were a mess. They just wouldn't stay in place, and as it turns out, they were broken. The motor seems to be in good shape, except when I serviced the motor, full confession, when I was trying to put the everything back into place, one of the springs sprung. So that is somewhere in oblivion. But what I do have left over, which could be used, is the shell itself, which could be repurposed somehow. I could check it against my Athearn locomotives to see what, if any of it, could be adapted, or it just winds up in the parts bin. So we have that, and I could also use the remaining spring to repair an Athearn locomotive, because it seems compatible enough. The other casualty, Oopie, was one of the Mantua 282 Mikados. Now, as you recall, I picked up 2. One seemed to be in fair shape with a Vanderbilt tender. The other one had what appeared to be a bent piston rod, and it had the regular tender, the tenders that I'm used to with the Tyco Mantua locomotives, with the Pitman motor. So, strangely enough, with these Mantua steam locomotives, the locomotive with the Vanderbilt tender, everything seemed to be fine. Cleaned everything up, cleaned up really nice. The motor appeared to be cooperative, except when I put her on the layout to just shake her sillies out, because Lord knows how long it was since she really ran. It just didn't have that get up and go. It just would not really, it moved, but it didn't move. And I had this thing on full throttle, 100% throttle, and it just struggled. Now, strangely enough, going in reverse, no problemo, dude. As a matter of fact, it was going so fast that it derailed once or twice. But going forward, yes, we have no bananas. Weird. Now, as for the Mikado that had the bent piston rod, they bent the piston rod back into shape. Cleaned the motor, cleaned the commutator, cleaned everything. Was running fine. Was running like a thoroughbred until it stopped all of a sudden. And I'm like, all right, I'll just pull you back, and it just stopped in place. As it turned out, now the piston rod that was bent out of shape was on the engineer's side. On the fireman's, a piston rod on the fireman's side just came out of the steam chest with no warning whatsoever. Everything seemed to be fine, and things just fell apart faster than I could put it back together. The piston rod just wouldn't stay in the steam chest no matter how hard I tried. Tore this thing down, did everything that I could, and we got ourselves a casualty. This was a catastrophic failure. I don't know who to blame. The previous owner, myself, maybe both of the above. What I did get now, so what we're left with is parts. This is just nothing but for parts. If I need something for any of the other Mantua locomotives, there you go. Here's your donor. It is disappointing. Now, the silver lining in this catastrophic failure was that the motor was fine. The motor was fine. And I figured I transplanted the motor off of this fella, and I put it onto the Mikado with the Vanderbilt tender. And it performed a whole lot better. So, thank you for your sacrifice. We also we have a spare tender. So, if there's anyone, excuse me, if there's anyone out there with a spare Mantua locomotive, steam locomotive, who wants to part with it, drop me a line. Or if you need a tender, drop me a line. But in any event, we got ourselves a spare tender. So let's go to the layout. and show and show you what's going on with the locomotives that did that we had no issue with. Be right back. All right, folks. Sorry. Let me just zoom in a bit. So, here is the Mikado with the donor motor and the Vanderbilt tender. As I explained in the introductory video sometime back, the cab and the tender were undecorated. So it took me, don't be shy. So it took me a little while, and I went up a little bit too much. There we are. So I did a little research to figure out what road to give it. A lot of these Mikados with the Vanderbilt tender were common on the Great Northern line, and I don't model the Great Northern. Yes, I do have in my collection an Athearn Blue Box SDP-40 in the Great Northern livery. That's the only one, and I use that with my Amtrak coaches to kind of resemble the early days of Amtrak, when everything was just all ragtag. So before she runs with a set of cars, she's going to sport the railroad that I settled on. So let's continue on. Now, here's the AHM by Mahano Jeep 18 in the Sioux livery. She still runs a little rough, but it took several revolutions to try to get rid of that screechy motor sound. Despite that, I did give her a rear light over here because if I choose to, I could run this long hood forward, or I could run it short hood forward, whichever I want. But she cleaned up nice, stammers a little bit, but hope you guys didn't get too dizzy. But she'll run. So we have that one. Let's continue onward. So lastly, we have the Model Power SW1 switcher. Now, this locomotive was manufactured by Mahano, and that's because on the underside over here it says made in Yugoslavia. And I've never had a locomotive like this before, and of course I needed to service it, and It's the instructions said to remove the screws underneath the cab in order to remove the shell. There are no screws to remove. The real way to remove the shell, to get underneath, there's a tab over here, a tab over here, and then you just take a small slotted screwdriver, pop, this comes up, and then there's a little tab over here, and it comes right out. That's how you remove the shell for this thing, and runs perfectly. Although, when I was breaking it in, running around the layout, it tended to derail over by a crossing on the wall side of the layout, and couldn't for the life of me. This was the only locomotive that would do that. All the other locomotives that I've had wouldn't derail. I don't know if it's because there happens to be traction tires on the conductor's side of the locomotive. I don't know. But when I ran it at a higher throttle setting, it didn't seem to mind that particular part, and it didn't derail. So I'm gonna hook up the work train, the Amtrak gondolas, and also the caboose that I picked up. Not the caboose. Yeah, the hold on a second. I'm gonna crack open and let me zoom out. Thank you. I'm gonna crack open this box and hook this up to the gondolas. So that'll be a sight to see. So we'll be right back. Well, after a little trial and error, derailments, uncouplings, these little guys are running pretty well, and the Sioux had a bit of a rough start. It was giving me that high-pitched crackling noise. I don't know how to... It was like a strange noise, but after consecutive circuits around the endurance main line, that annoying sound is gone. I know it's going to be there for every rough start, but after you run her, after a few laps, she's running like a champ. And this little guy, I don't know about you guys, but I guess certain cars want to be coupled up to certain cars. Otherwise, if you don't couple them up in a certain way, they go off the tracks. They excuse me, they derail. I don't know what to tell you guys. But they're getting along. Yeah. So I'm a happy camper. So I'm going to let the Sue run a couple more laps, and then I'm going to put the Mikado on, and you'll see what road I gave her. So stay tuned. Well, she runs, but she's not pulling as much as I would like her to. And I was planning a longer consist, but she just couldn't. I figured that if the cars do not weigh so much, she could probably pull more cars that aren't so heavy. It could be that the Sioux Line cars may be a bit too much for her. But I'm satisfied. I mean, by herself, she runs like a demon. Pulling a consist, and I guess the shorter the consist, the better, or the lighter weight the cars, she'll run. Or you just got to keep an eye on the throttle. But, you know, I'm a happy camper. So, with that being said, I'd like to thank my subscribers for their continued support. As of this recording, I reached the 350 subscriber milestone. Thank you all so very much for your continued support, your tolerance of me. I do greatly appreciate it. Now it's on to the 375 subscriber milestone. Please like and share if you're not a subscriber. There is the link at the bottom right hand corner. I am trying to put out as much content as I possibly can, but given my work schedule, that's easier said than done. There is also the Facebook group, Mastic Shortline. If you haven't joined the group, please, by all means, join the group. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by. I'll see you soon.